Welcome to the top of the world.
Hello and welcome to Top of the World. If it's your first time, I'm Simon and behind me is a traditional Swedish, northern Swedish old bathroom. Another one with browns and oranges and appalling tasting decoration and worn out porcelain and yeah, blocked drains, he says, looking down at his Karcher with his drain blocking, unblocking. Right, show you what we've got today. There's nothing particularly unusual about this bathroom. It's small. It has a larger radiator than perhaps I've seen in some, but otherwise everything's the same. It's old, it's not functional. And it's not functional in as far as all the drains are blocked and overflowing, the toilet's overflowing, the sink's overflowing, you can't use the bath or the shower because the central drain's blocked. It's all dated and just, I'll show you. Now, for those that have been around a while, we all know what happens when that comes out. And it's usually very nasty. Right, centre drain. That's where the bath drains into. That's where the shower's going to drain into. We've done one of these before. Actually, we've done a couple now. Yeah. Okay. So the toilet does have a big crack in it. Where we saved the last one, actually we're going to change this one now. And there is a reason for that. Anyway, the sink, everything out. Basically we're going to strip it. We're turning this into a modern wet room. We're going to do the same as we did before. We're going to put a drop ceiling in, LEDs, wet walls, wet floor, laid to falls. Although I've got to say, I think this floor is already laid to falls. We might not have to do an extensive floor. Well, I'm hoping we don't have to do an extensive floor because I didn't charge for an extensive floor. And we've got this, right. Okay, and that light switch there powers that one bulb under there. So we're going to have to deal with that and redo electrics. There is a large radiator in here. All of this is normal. I see this all the time, every day. So, yeah, there we go. That's where we are with that. We're in a slightly tighter space than we have been before, although it's bigger than some. So, yeah. So the first thing to do is to remove everything. Toilet, sink, bath, cupboards, so that we can get to the drains. I am hoping these are blocked at this end and not broken, because I'm pretty sure that's a concrete floor. There's no cellar, right? So there's not many houses we work in where there's no cellars. There is no cellar in this property, so that's a concrete floor. So we've got to hope that nothing nefarious has happened underneath there. Some of you will remember when we did the last big shower room, the absolute nastiness with the cast iron pipes and everything under the floor. Well, on that one we were first floor, so we could rip up the floor and get access to all the drains. This is concrete, so we don't really want to be, let's pray that they're just blocked, and they are all blocked badly. Okay, let's tear this out, and then once we've got everything out we can see what we're dealing with. We've saved you the puking details. So that's part of the shitty job done, right? But now we're getting into the shitty job. So I'll show you what we got here. We've got 3 outlets, right? I'm going to make an assumption that the main pipe heads that way through the house. We don't know for sure yet. Anyway, all 3 are blocked. That's the main centre drain, the sink drain, and the toilet outlet. So I'll show you. Have I found some things I weren't expecting. Right, that's blocked, that's blocked, that's blocked. So we had, it was really nasty under there. I was expecting the tiles to go all the way. Quite clearly the bath has been leaking for a long time. We've got this, well, tar down the back. That's all of that's got to come out because it's all rippled, and you know I'm making a wet room. Also, that corner looks like it flows away over there. So ultimately, looks like we've got to level the entire floor, which probably means whipping the drain out and all this. Okay, yeah, it's not good. There's a lot of damp in that corner. The radiator is huge, which is good because it'll be a nice warm shower room. It's got the standard ply everywhere. I've got to remove all the trims. The gap's not insulated as well as I would like, so we're going to add in extra insulation there. This nasty stuff's just going to tear off, so we'll take that off. And it had this, I don't know, like baker-like material. Is, you know. Anyway, so I'm going to save you the details. I've left the sink on the wall, and I've added this because I need to retain the plumbing because I'm going to need water in here. Obviously, lots of it. Not so much, I hope we don't flood the whole thing, but you know, we've been here before. I've got to pray that we don't have a break underneath there. There is a jetting hole. I don't know if you can see, there is a hole there, right? There's a jetting hole. I've got to open that up so I can get the jet pipe down it. And we brought a really long one, so we should be able to go to the main pipe. Now, there are problems. We can see these, they've had the road up here because there's problems, it's been problems through the winter with pipe work. Anyway, I've got to go and find where the main manhole cover is and then drop this lot down. Yeah, more brown, it's just brown everywhere, Christ. Okay, so before we can go any further, we have to clear these drains because what's happening with these drains determine whether I need to, don't say it, Simon, whether I need to break out this concrete floor. We're not going to go there, we're just going to have a good attempt to clear these drains. Right, we are block solid. We can't get anything to move. Now this pipe here, it appears to go this way, right? And I reckon it joins up to here. Now common sense, since the road is this way, would tell me it'd go there, under the house, right, and come out the front. However, we're in Sweden. Now there's another pipe that goes that way, and that would make sense because there's water at the back of the building. So, if we walk through the building to the back, where there's no cellar, there is a boiler room. Right, mains water incoming there. That's new. Right, there's been a problem there. There's a drain there. I suspect that's a drain, although that might be the old oil sump, and that's a story for a different day. This might have been oil originally, right, and that might be an oil sump. Right, there is a vent pipe there, so we know there's full cast drainage up here, and that's right by the chimney. Obviously there's a drain there, and then at the back of this building there's a shower, wash room, laundry room. There's another drain, and there going into the ground is another drain. I'm assuming that empties into there because that would be normal. Right, so all these floors are concrete except that is not concrete. Can I get it up? No. Has it been up in a very, 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 very long time? No. Is there lights here? There. Okay, that is not concrete. That is wood in a concrete floor. But we've been on that about 30 minutes now. It's got chipboard right on top of a solid wooden floor. Is it all going to break up and make a right mess? Yeah, but I got to open it up because I believe that's a drain connection. And then if we go through into here, there'll be drains in here. This is the garage. Right, there's water in here. There you go. There's another drain. So I got to assume all these drains are going to block up because the whole thing's blocked somewhere. So if I was a guessing man, right, bearing in mind I've done this lots of times in Swedish houses, the toilet is quite some distance that way, but I've got a whole collection of drains at the back here. Do I believe that's a drain connection? And do I believe the main sewer heads in that direction? Running all the way past the back of these houses as opposed to the front. There is no manhole that I can see, right, anywhere. But if we look from here, there's the road over there, you've got houses down there, right, and then you've got houses here. And I believe the drain runs that way because that's downhill. And I believe it runs from here. That, I think, at the moment, I'm going to say that's an old oil sump. But we might have to dig that out. But before I do any of that, I may have to destroy that to get it out. I'm going to try not to, but it's got to come open because I believe that's a drain connection under there. And at least it's the only way under the building that's not concrete. So I've got to open it up. What the? Okay, well, unfortunately, I don't think it's what I thought it is, but it is something. What on earth? Ah, another day, another house, another dirty hole. Well, I suppose at least there's a ladder here. Well, fuck if I know. I don't understand. Okay, well, we've got a couple of pipes there. They're not going anywhere. And nothing. Right, just a hole under the concrete. So, there's a big rock there that obviously stopped progress. Right, there's a cast pipe, look, there. That's running somewhere. I don't know what those plastic pipes there do, but there's nothing under here. Somebody started and then didn't get anywhere, so I'm not quite sure what the idea. You can see what we're sat on. It's all just river rock. There's the pay level. A lot of these just stand. The whole place is like that. It's all riverbed. Gold, gold and more gold. Right. So we've established nothing other than there's a thermometer there, right, which tells you you're a constant 10 degrees below ground. The thermometer and nothing. Right, so we've got, and we've got no way out. And that's not going anywhere. It's interesting because before that was draining down. And that's not. Clean water. That got it. Okay, so I'm 32 meters down that pipe. That's 96 feet down that pipe. So I can assure you I'm no longer inside the building. At 96 feet or 32 metres, I am not inside this building. This is a 50 metre hose and I've got 18 metres above ground. And that's running perfectly in clear, clean water. That's running perfectly. And that I don't know if I can actually get that to go any further. It's running brilliantly, and I've had this jet hose in and out 4 times because it uses jets to push itself down the hole, but also it cleans the pipe when you're coming back, and then you can go again and wash the whole lot down. So I'm not exactly sure at 33 metres or 96 feet where I'm up to, but it don't seem to want to go anymore. So I might be dropped into the missing manhole or whatever it is, but I'm not inside the building. That I'm absolutely sure of. Okay, we can clean this lot up, extract it all, get rid of that, and we'll call that the shitty job done. Here we go with the sawdust again. Anybody's doubted what I've said over the years. And this is an internal wall. Well, I suppose at least we're on 22mm copper there. And then what we do is we cut them off there, maybe they make that a bit smaller, cut them off there, and then put our extensions up to come out of here. Okay, the sink and the toilet are alright, so where those exit, that's alright, that's going to be within the cabinet, and that's going to be alright, we just need to take off that bit of pipework, so, right. Wow, Am I glad I saved that job for the morning? Okay, well, that was a nightmare. And the tiles are all up. How long has that toilet been leaking? A very long time. How long have these drains been blocked up? Years. Okay, and then, as I suspected, there's no glycol in the heating system. That's why it was always switched on, because it's just water. That's disappointing. That's expensive, that is. So, I know. For those who've been around for a while, you know it took me 4 years to save up before we could put glycol in our system. And did it used to freeze during the winter whilst it was on? Oh yeah. Okay, so now we're going to drain this radiator and take this off, and we can finish the wall behind it. And then we're on to electrics. We have to move the electrics up to there, and then we can put a drop ceiling in it. Yeah, the floor. Yeah, I've got some work to do on the floor. We're going to have to relay it all to fulls and do something with this. Okay, well, we'll let that drain. Radiator off, no problem. Framework for a drop ceiling. So I brought the ceiling down 4 inches, 100mm. I've extracted the wiring out the wall, brought it in through the ceiling. We found the centre spot. So, right, really important. These timbers are not central, right, in any way, and they can't be. It's really important to know, firstly, why am I putting a drop ceiling in? I want flush LEDs, right, and the construction of these buildings, most of these buildings, don't lend themselves to flashlights. You can't put lights in the ceiling because you've got this shit wallpaper, and then you've got wood directly above that, and then you've got shavings directly above that, and you can't have any heat or light source or electrics, or if it ain't in a tube, you know. So you put in a ceiling, you drop it down, you give yourself enough room for the vent and for the lights and any heat and dissipation and all of that. It improves insulation. And you plasterboard it and then plaster it and then paint it. It's a lot of work for some lights, Simon. It's what separates me from the rest. That's just how it is. So you drop the ceiling, put a new ceiling in. So there's going to be 5 lights going in there. Well, the point I was about to make was, know what you're doing before you start. So my centre light is there. Okay, which is why this beam is off centre that way and that beam is off centre that way. And then from that centre point, equally, there'll be 4, not in the corners, but, you know, spread out. So you've got a centre of 5, there's 2 over the shower, 1 over the toilet, 1 over the doorway, and 1 in the middle. Perfect, it's just what we want. Anyway, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out, now I've got the centre one, where this light is going, because above there will be a junction box for all the wiring to wire back to. Then I can do all the wiring, and then I can put up my sheets, drill the holes, pull the wiring down, plaster it, paint it. There we go. That's how we're doing that. Right, let's get on with that then. End of day 2. Sealing up. I've just put these blocks on these wires for now so that I can turn the power back on. Okay. Well, I haven't put the vent in because I haven't got the vent. I don't know what side, what the diameter of the hole is. But yeah, I think we did well. That's all that nasty stuff off, the floor off, and the ceiling up. And the reason I've gone that far is because I've got to break out around this and then relay all the floors. And once I relay the floors, I'm going to need perhaps 3 days to let it go hard before I can get back on it. We've been and sanded the ceiling this morning, and then I thought I'd better get into what this tar thing is. You can see how distorted it was. We could never have gone over the top of that. Right, so it's got to come off. I'm not quite, I'm just, anyway, behind the bath, they've used, you know, I've done a lot of these old Swedish houses now, and you're never going to see it all because there was no regulation as such as to how they were built. Right, well, I've got a big step there now, so I can't overboard that without building that up, and I just don't have the material with me to build that back out, but I'm going to have to overboard this wall now. I was hoping I wasn't going to do that, but oh, I've got to. Yep, okay. So I've capped off the drains and I've started the plumbing there, but I wanted to get into that because I don't know how easy you can tell. This corner here kicks out. So I've actually got to cut that entire corner out to get that back square. Probably don't, yeah, you can see that. Right, so all that's got to be cut out to find out why that's doing that. Because obviously I'm putting a wet room in. There's two corners that are going to catch your eye, that one and that one. Right, this one, toilet's behind this, don't matter about that one. But you can't have that in a wet room. We haven't started breaking this out yet. I just wanted to see what was going on behind there. Yeah. Okay. That wasn't in my plan. So I've just overboarded that whole back wall now, plastered it, plastered the walls. We can sand all those down. I've got that to deal with and a little corner in the middle to deal with. But now we're going to get the breaker out. Right, well that was just as hard as any other I've just done. Jesus. Right, that's out. And we've managed to save the intact outgoing pipe. So now over here we have the new drain. Right, this is designed to work with a wet floor, and we got to open that hole enough to get this in. Probably don't need to open up the hole, in fact, to get that in there like that, and then connect it up to that pipe there. So we're good. Whew. That's day 3, and I thought I would finish anyway. No matter where I thought I'd be, but I'm not, because we've had to. Anyway, we're doing all right. Right, let's see if I can't make some sort of connection to that. I don't know if I've got the right bend down for that. Right, I've cleaned out the end of that pipe. Okay, and we insert that seal like that, and then what I've done is I've got 2 35-degree bends on there, some soap on there. I've got my spacer for my float coat, and then I've got my bit of wood, and I need to get that in there and sealed into the right position. I've also marked on the concrete where my drain needs to be. Now I need to go in another ½ inch. That could mean I just cut that distance off that pipe. I'm a little bit long to go in there and seal up. Let's just whip a bit off this pipe, which is there. Okay. Alright. That's it. That's the drain in place. This pushes this down. I'll just need to recheck all that to make sure I'm low enough. It doesn't look like I'm low enough. Take all our tools out and mix up some of Simon's special mix, pour it in the hole. I know it looks like that rubber seals there is the wrong way, but it's a multi-seal. So you can go from either end, from inside or from outside. So that's a 75mm to 110 conversion, and then 90 to 65mm internal conversion on the other end. They're just a universal, really helpful, really nicely sealed rubber. Okay, good job. Good job, there's a little bit left, isn't there? A little bit of ice up there as well. Look. Yeah, we've switched that on. I'm lucky and unlucky because there is a heat pump in this house, and it's right by where I'm working. And whilst I'm not one for turning on people's heating when I'm working in their house, in the winter obviously you do, I'll show you. It's going to really help me. In the last wet room we had a lot of problems because we couldn't get the flooring and the walling warm enough. So there's the heat pump pumping out vast amounts of heat at whatever temperature I say it is, and there's the room we're working in. Lucky. And I've screened off all the other areas so I can shut that door and just concentrate the heat in this area, but most importantly, when we come to lay this, we can stand them here and get them really warm and supple. It's going to make the job a lot easier. Right, let's pour this wet stuff in the bottom of this hole and try not to get that floating. Most important thing is not to, keep monitoring it under there, make sure it don't float, because it doesn't want to float. No, that's not even a thing, is it? I just got this on a bit of pipe. Be careful, nothing goes down in there. How is that? How's that exactly the right length? What? Sometimes I get a little helping hand. What even? All right. Okay. That's where we need that. So good. The other thing that I've come across, I've got to strap these from the back, because once all this is gone and you've got your new walling on, you've just got your two pipes sticking out. Right, you naturally need to apply quite a bit of pressure to get this on to seal, and you've no longer got the ability to be able to hold the pipe. Right, and what you don't want to do is that disappearing in the wall, because then you've got an even bigger problem. So now I'm going to strap them from the back to hold them at their maximum position, which is that. And that's going to give me the opportunity to be able to apply pressure when I fit this plate. I'm not standing on that, of course, because that would be really bad. Right, let me show you how I'm doing it, because when you're doing this with the hollow wall, if ever a mistake's going to be made, it's right there. So what I've done is initially I've screwed a second piece of wood behind the pipes from the side there. See that screw going in? Missed the pipe, obviously, and then the same there. Right, that has got those pipes. Now I'm going to remove this, and then I can put two additional screws flush in the centre there. Right, so I've got the first coat of paint on the ceiling, because that's all sanded and finished. And I've sanded all the walls, and oh no, I've just stood in it. And I've vacuumed the floor, and I've put a seal coat on the concrete. I am now ready for the self-leveling compound. Except I've got sticky feet and I've got to stand on there, I'll have to wash it off. So I need to shut the window, get everything off the windowsill. Let me show you what I've done. So that's the first coat and ceiling. All the walls are sanded down. They're ready for a seal coat, except I can't finish it because I've got that over there that's just drying. And now I'm ready to float in the floors. And the reason I've done everything else is because once those floors are floated in, I then can't or will not get on it for 3 days. Today being Friday, I'll be back here on Tuesday. So go back outside now and mix up all the levelling compound. That's self-levelling, right? I know it's self-levelling. Doesn't mean to say it's going to flatten it all out and lay in the bottom. if you know how to use self-leveling compound, you can self-level compound to falls, no problem at all. And we've already got falls on the floor. So literally what we're doing is we're putting the smooth coat, beautiful smooth coat over the top and bringing it all down, so that when we put the wet room floor on it, everything's going to be smooth and perfect, and it will all run to drain. Drain. New drain, not smelly nasty drain, nice white drain. Okay, that's our last thing to do today then, is get that in, shut that window, because obviously once we start we can't go back over there. Oh, suction. Right, that will level itself all down to the drain there. And I've gone over the drain, but it's very thin. We'll be able to cut that out, smooth that down, and then the flooring will all go down into the drain and it will leave a perfect finish. Right, that's it, end of day 4. That'll all sort itself out in a minute. We're going to stand over it for half an hour just to make sure, because it does set quite quickly. We just want to make sure that's all right. The light makes it worse, look worse than it is. Okay, so there we go. We're fully plumbed. I've left those on because I want to take these off an hour before I start hanging the walls. But Tuesday we do another coat on the ceiling and then we put the flooring in. Right, that's it then, end of day 4. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.